What's up everyone and welcome to another review. Today I'm going to be doing a late review of Deathloop, a game that was originally only exclusive to PS5 but as of last week has come to the Xbox Game Pass. Now since this is new to Xbox players, I will be doing a traditional review. However, this will not be a very long review based off of the build of the game. So for the majority of this review, I will be focusing on the story. Then I will get into the controls and mechanics, graphics and scenery, and enemies and power scaling. These will all be based off of what I have discovered in a week's time period, but trust me when I say that there is a lot more to this game than what meets the eye. In fact, I'm sure there are some things that I've missed in my playthrough that I am more than willing to have an open dialogue about in the comments below. As usual, before we get started, if you like the content, make sure you leave a like and sub, and if you want to support the channel further, there will be links below on where else you can follow me. And now it's time to explore the world of Deathloop.
Hand-holding is over. What are you looking at? Why are you... Son of a bitch. All right.
I'm going to put the initial story into a short summary because there is quite a bit to cover in this department. You start the game with Juliana standing over Colt, stabbing him and trying to get him to remember her and himself. After she seemingly kills Colt, he wakes up on a beach thinking he just had a bad night of drinking. Colt then has to figure out a code for a series of tunnels that he created in order to figure out who he is and what his objectives are. After killing a few people in search of the code, Colt is then faced with Juliana again, still trying to get him to remember her, and this time she has powers. And in so many words, she basically tells him to self-delete. After trying to jump to his death, another version of Colt saves Colt and reveals the code just before Juliana kills both Colts. After waking up on the beach again, Colt grabs the code to complete the first mission. That's just a small taste of the story because everything after these events are scripted. After finding out everything that hints to what you have to do in the game, you find out that everything leading up to finding out your objective is just the freaking introduction / tutorial of how the game is going to play. So what's your objective? Well, it's to break the loop. How do you break the loop? Kill the visionaries. Now Juliana mentioned them at the very beginning of the game and I didn't think anything of it. That alone should show you why I'm spending more time on the story in this review than anything else. Let me say before I continue, congrats to Bethesda for how they rolled this game out. They showed a lot of gameplay features without revealing how deep the story actually is. In fact, in the initial showcase, it looked like a game I would pass up. Even if I had a PS5, it did not look all that appealing to me. Truth be told, I am happy to say that I was wrong and that I underestimated this game heavily. When I say this story is deep, I mean it in a couple of ways. For instance, you don't just find out your connections to Blackwreath where the story takes place, you also find out the stories of each visionary and you control the pace and the direction of the story. Meaning that when and how you beat this game is completely up to you. But why would you want to beat this game so fast? There are so many things to explore in such a small space, like side mission objectives that pop up when you discover certain doors and items. There's not just one way to kill visionaries either. You can kill them in whatever order you choose. However, you have to kill all 8 of them in one day to break the loop. So certain intel can really be helpful, especially if you want to kill 2 at once. I'll humbly admit that I still haven't found all of the secrets or all of the door codes, and honestly I'm glad. For a game like this, I wouldn't want the substance of the story to be too easy. I didn't even mention when you get raided by Juliana, who is played by a random player, that makes this story that much more interesting. If you get invaded, your goal is not only to find the visionary, but if you want to escape back to the tunnels, then you have to hack the satellite guarded by Juliana and kill the player themselves. If you play as Juliana, your goal is to kill Colt and protect the loop by any means necessary. I don't want to give too much away as she is going to play a huge part when I do enemies and power scaling. Oh, and if you die, you have to start the hunt all the way over. The point is that this game has too much to do as far as the story goes, and you are definitely going to need to think fast, use deductive reasoning, and be ready to take risks to complete this game. The controls and mechanics are fairly simple. If you don't have a brain like mine, where in certain moments I forget I can do certain things in certain circumstances, playing this game you'll find it quite simple to switch between weapons, grenades, and your slab abilities. And the trinkets that you collect, such as Spring Healed, which is one of the first trinkets that you obtain, are implemented automatically into your controls. I didn't notice any hiccups in anything either. Everything runs smoothly and makes sense for how everything was built in this game. I will, however, say that sometimes hacking can be a bit of an issue, especially if you're trying to machete stealth your way through an area. I don't really think I should need to get as close as you have to just to cause distractions or turn enemy turrets against them. It almost feels like I'm doing all of it while the enemies are watching me do it, but maybe that's how the game was built, to make you feel a bit of angst while you hack and stealth your way to the visionaries. Another minor nitpick that I have is that there was a point in the game where I could peek around corners, but I think you have to be locked onto the enemy to do so. Other than that, I like the fact that you can focus on enemies to see what they're packing before you rush in, and even focus on the enemies if you hold down on the D-pad to see where they're going to go. Your controls are really based around your playstyle, so whether you like to play it safe and sneak around, or you like rushing in guns blazing, you'll find that this game is fit to however you play. The graphics and scenery is exactly what you would expect from a game like this one. I like the retro stylings that this game has to offer. I might catch some smoke for this comment, but it was almost reminiscent of a Fallout game. The build for Black Reef really brings out the personalities of each visionary. Traveling between each area gives you a different feeling. Some areas look like a wild 60s party, and other areas look like an experiment gone wrong. And with the crazy designs of the Eternalists to match, you have the works of a 60s cyberpunk rock party experiment thing. I only have a couple of nitpicks with this, but it might have had something to do with my internet connection. I found a couple of areas where I got myself stuck in the assets, and the couple of times I played as Juliana, enemies would just slide along the ground and enemies would be choppy from time to time. It wasn't bad enough to stop my enjoyment, but it was annoying while I was trying to catch Colt, and I would get hit with bad latency in the process. Again, that might have had something to do with my internet connection. Still an amazing setting and very pleasing to the eye. For this section, I need to break things down a little carefully because of the way things work for Colt and Juliana. The Eternalists are easy to break down, but only because there aren't that many variations of them. There are named Eternalists, Eternalists with no names that are considered special sightings like the mostly naked Eternalists, Eternalists that radio in for backup if they spot you, and Eternalists that are paint bomb martyrs. I have to give Bethesda more credit because I don't think I've played a game ever where they name damn near every single enemy separately. Normally, enemy NPCs are just a bunch of no names with hardly any emphasis to the story, but in the Aeon program, everyone serves a particular purpose. Enemies are normally pretty easy to take care of, especially if you have the right slabs to get the job done. And sometimes, if you alert a particular group of Eternalists, you can slip away to another sub-area to evade the ones you've alerted without alerting any other Eternalists in the next area. However, Eternalists have impeccable vision. I mean like sniper vision. I mean like if you have a body part sticking out, they'll spot you. The spotting system is very forgiving though, in the fact that if one begins to spot you, you'll have enough time to cover up before they go into caution or alert. If they go into caution, they will check the last area they spotted you in. And of course, alert means pull your guns out because you are in for what seems like a long fight. The fights can feel so long because if you alert an Eternalist that's near another that can radio for backup, you're going to be faced with damn near the whole firing squad. Eternalists in small groups can be a joke, but take on a bigger group and you're damn near done for. And these guys have just as much free range as you do when it comes to where they can go to get you. So there won't be too many places you can hide if a map of Eternalists swarm you. That is, unless you can slip into an area unsuspected to lose them. Visionaries are kind of the same as Eternalists, except for that they carry special slabs and weapons that some missions require you to take from them. Visionaries can be more of a pain even without Eternalists by their side, depending on which slabs they're carrying. For instance, Charlie carries the shift slab, which was a pain in the ass to fight him with if you don't keep track of his movements properly. However, I did say that how you play is completely up to you, and your skill set is grouped into that statement. In every area, you can pick up trinkets to help the effect of your weapon, your physical attributes, and even slaps that you can upgrade. Now keep in mind that when you lose a loop, you lose everything and have to obtain all the guns and trinkets that you gathered again. Now you can keep everything you gather by using residuum, so it's very important that you gather as much as you can so that when it comes time to upgrade your loadout, you can keep the trinkets, guns, and slabs for future loops. You can also get slab upgrades to equip to your slabs that give that slab extra effects. Utilizing these resources is the key to how successful you will be in however many loops you go through. You can also hack turrets, sensors, Eternalist radios, and other things to help you in the loop as well. That's just Cult side of things. Juliana, on the other hand, never loses anything on her side. Meaning, if you have her leveled up to a certain point, she can damn near be OP when it comes to cult encounters. I mean, she starts off with quite a selection. She can switch identities with an Eternalist to make cult players think that the Eternalist in question is Juliana, set grenade traps, and even alert Eternalists to help with the fight. And that's just some of her initial loadout perks. When she levels up, she only gets more trinkets and weapons, and when she dies, she doesn't lose a single thing. So as cult, it's really important to make sure that you absorb residuum to keep your stuff, because some Juliana encounters would be a struggle without your collected items. Of course, that also depends on what players you go against too. I've had some players just waltz right in front of me just because they got too comfortable with the Eternalists they surrounded themselves with. I didn't even get into the customization when it comes to outfits, which is okay if you want to switch your look up. With all that being said, power scaling is pretty fair considering all of the things that you are capable of in this game. Choose how you match up against the enemy. It's only as challenging as you make it. We finally come to the part of my review where I give my verdict on this game. Given the facts that have been presented, my verdict might come as a surprise. I thoroughly enjoyed all of the silly dialogue, the designs, and the overall story of the game, and while I couldn't see it at the time, I definitely see how it was a contender for Game of the Year. But that being said, if you've been a PS5 owner for a while, then you probably already have this game, so this really doesn't pertain to you as you already know about this game and you've probably gotten all of the enjoyment from this game. However, for anyone who can get their hands on a PS5 or you have an Xbox Series and/or Game Pass, I would recommend waiting to a later date to buy an immediate download for Xbox Game Pass. Truth be told, this is really a filler game that will more than get you by into the next big title, and this game has a lot of replay value, but in terms of online play, it was really hard to find anyone to play against. And that's the review. Again, if you want to support the channel, leave a like and a sub, and if you want to further support the channel, there will be links in the description below on the other platforms that you can find me on. Also, I am really interested to hear what you think of this game, so feel free to drop a comment below. I'm going to continue to play this game, and I will be releasing gameplay footage in the near future around this game. But until then, you all be easy, and I'll see you next time.